Okay, hello everybody. My name is Steve Kaiser. I'm the CEO of the Arizona Small Business Association, and I'm very excited to welcome LocalFi to this interview. They're members of ASBA. They did amazing at BizCon, so I wanted to give them another opportunity to talk to everybody about what they do. So can you guys introduce yourself first and tell us a little bit high level about what LocalFi is all about?
Yeah, my name is Kim. This is Isaac. We are the founders of LocalFi, started in 2018, and Isaac will tell you everything that we do.
Yeah, so we really started with local SEO. I had been doing this for many years before we even launched LocalFi, and I had found that businesses utilizing Google Maps, essentially promoting themselves on Google Maps, were driving a ton of local traffic. And so I had been doing this for a while, where I had been helping businesses as I met them, promote themselves on Google Maps and really drive just unbelievable traffic. And when I met Kim, she was actually a vet tech. And had been in that industry for almost 10 years. And, she actually had life-saving chest surgery and had to have steel bars put into her chest.
Wow.
What wasn't, she was coming home every day just in a lot of pain after that surgery because dogs yank and jump and all that kind of stuff.
I couldn't do what I knew I was great at, and that was all I knew at that point. Since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be in animal medicine, and that was it. It wasn't until I met Isaac that we realized, oh, I do have great skills like systems building and writing out user manuals. And I really geek out about that stuff, and being able to pull systems out of Isaac's head and document it, because I didn't know about SEO going into the space. That was what really helped launch LocalFi.
Yeah, so Kim taking all of my systems that I had developed in my head but never documented, then we were able to hire staff. And as we grew, we realized our clients needed web development. So we started offering web development. And then recently, obviously with AI coming out, a huge amount of people have started shifting to utilizing AI to find businesses. So I've spent the last year and a half really digging in and diving into how do I get my clients showing up in AI answers, whether that be Google answers, whether that be ChatGPT. And I'm happy to say we've really been able to figure out how to get clients in AI answers, and the amount of people utilizing AI to find businesses. I mean, it's such a quick shift. It's the largest shift in how people are using the internet since social media came out.
Wow. And the big part is people used to just type into Google like plumber near me. And now in AI, we're talking about big, long-winded answers. I have a leak under my sink and it's dripping from this spot here. Look at this picture. What should I do? Who should I call? So that is why it's so valuable nowadays. Really show up in AI, and it's people are going to more and more use it. That was a poor sentence.
So you all were at our BizCon, is the best attended BizCon, most tables ever, most breakout sessions, and you actually hosted a breakout session too.
Yeah.
Tell us about how that was, being a part of BizCon, doing the breakout session and that kind of stuff.
I would love to say that I am very pumped that we had a fully packed room, because people want to know how to show up in AI. Our whole talk was the new age of answers, how to make sure AI is recommending your business. So no wonder it was well attended. But one thing that really sets us apart, and that we got so much positive feedback about, was that we gave people an entire roadmap on what they need to do. We had people Google themselves live. We had people search in AI on ChatGPT or Gemini Live to find out, how are you currently showing up? What could you be doing better? And people really gave us great feedback about, wow, I learned so much from this. I'm going to start log scheduling. I'm going to start setting aside my Saturday to really work on this stuff. Which is great.
It was very cool to have multiple people again approach Kim and I, and a gentleman named Larry came up and was like, that was the best presentation I've attended in so many years.
We even got reviews for our business, again, because we also asked, which is helpful, but people left us wonderful reviews saying like, this was the most impactful talk I've ever seen in my life, which really hits like deep in the heart. We try to do that to support local businesses the best we can.
And one really interesting thing, Steve, is obviously we've been running LocalFi for about 8 years now. We have never actually run a booth for LocalFi
ever.
So this was our first booth experience, because we ran the booth, and then we've done many teaching gigs a lot during COVID with AZ Commerce Authority, ASU, Local First Arizona, but this was really our first one live for a long time, and running the booth. So it was just such a cool experience to be out there, to be surrounded by all these other local businesses in the area, to network with them. We've had a couple of phenomenal meetings afterwards. We just had a great meeting with a photographer and videographer that we met there, and we're looking to do business together. So it's really cool just to bring all of these great local businesses together and be able to network.
Yeah. So who is the business that you would typically work with, and what kind of problems are these business owners coming to you with and asking your help on?
Yeah, so we kind of have 3 different niches that are very different, but our marketing works extraordinarily well for each one. So, the first one we've been working with for a long time are home service companies. So this is painters, HVAC, landscapers. Google Maps specifically works incredibly well for those types of industries. But now with AI answers, we're working a lot with larger contractors in the area or people who are doing large bathroom renovations. And we're finding that, we're getting our clients into these AI answers and they're booking huge jobs from them, 30,000, 40,000, 100,000.
100,000.
A client of mine yesterday told me he booked a $100,000 job.
And we've only been working with him for a couple of months.
Yeah.
But because our main focus with him has really specifically been the local SEO showing up in Google Maps results, the website, and building a new website, showing up in AI answers.
And building trust. A lot of times, again, especially for these home service industries, you have to build trust with the consumers because there's so many out there. Everyone's been burned before by, somebody in this industry. And so building that trust is huge. And that's what we really focused on him, building trust both for the consumer and for the AI agents looking at his website and deciding, should I recommend this person or not?
So that's one industry. Home services kill it online. They do so well. Another industry is like the tourism, cabin resort kind of industry. How many times have you been to a hotel and there's 5 other things going on in the hotel, like the restaurants and everything else, but they don't exist on Google. You're like, oh, I didn't know they had that. So we've had great success in that industry. And the other side of it is we travel a lot. We love travel. We're very passionate about it. So the benefit of working with someone like us is like the cabin resort we worked with. We went to their cabin resort in Pine Top and we actually went out and did the different things in their area so we could capture all the content. So it's not just a marketer being like, I think I know about your area. Let me market this. It's like, wow, let's go and experience the nature center and hang out with the birds and do the hiking trails and talk to town hall, eat at the restaurants. And now when we're marketing, we have a full scope of understanding of what to actually do in the area because we experienced it ourselves. It's so awesome.
A really cool thing that happened, this is Northwoods Cabins up here in Pine Top, Arizona. And a really cool thing that happened is I wrote a whole article about their most popular hiking trail and lake they have there. And a woman saw it. She thought it was so beautiful. She said she wanted to get married in the area, ended up booking out the entire cabin resort of our clients. And then we actually captured some pictures from that, wrote a whole wedding page all about that. They went from never having hosted a wedding before to having 6 booked already this year.
Whoa.
So we opened up a whole new revenue stream for them. And like when people book weddings, they book out the entire cabin resort,
All the cabins are
booked. So it's
awesome.
pretty cool just from exploring the area and actually writing articles about the area. We opened up a whole new revenue stream.
That's, as a small business owner, that's what you dream about, is what new revenue stream can I start that's brand new. That's amazing.
And then the third and last industry that we're really focused on helping make an impact for is universities and career-focused institutions.
So we've had tremendous success with an amazing flight school here in Arizona, UND Aerospace. They're a satellite chapter from the University of North Dakota. And we actually really helped them during COVID, where they lost all of their foreign students because they couldn't travel here anymore. So they initially just hired us on really to help them fill those spots with Americans. But after 3 years, they went from 150 students to 450 students with our marketing. And they really do almost no other type of marketing. We don't have to run paid ads or anything. And it's just by really, again, they had an amazing institution. They had the track record of success. We just helped them put it online in places that prospective students were looking and capturing. And then, being able to capture all those students. And then when AI came out, we really started focusing on that, because what we've seen is students are adopting AI a lot faster than the general public. They're using AI to figure out what colleges they should be going to. And so that's our big focus now, is really helping these, especially as Kim said, the career focused institutions, because, you know, a lot of millennials, we ran into the trap of having high student debt and not necessarily a great career path out of that. So we love working with institutions that really are providing a great career path for those students and having it be a great investment in that student's life.
And it's one thing we see is always, I say always is a strong word, but always lacking in the university department is like having a reputation online. Google any school, you know, if people are listening right now, Google university you know about and see what they look like on Google. They likely have 3 to maybe 10 reviews.
For the individual colleges. Like
Right.
the university may have something, but the individual colleges, which also often run their own enrollment office and have their own ads and everything, those are highly neglected, and they don't realize that that's where students are looking to find reviews of other students and that kind of stuff.
Right. It's shocking how little, but they put a lot of money into paid ads. But the problem with ads is when you stop paying the ads, it disappears and it stops serving you. But with what we do with the SEO, the local SEO, the website showing up in AI results, we're all about building long-term marketing assets that's going to last you as long as you choose to stay in business, which is really powerful.
So it wasn't too long ago that I actually owned a home service business, and all I did was Google ads, really focused on getting reviews. That's what customers built the trust with, was the reviews. But now, to your point, when I'm searching on Google personally, I see that AI summary that didn't exist when I owned my business.
Yeah.
So how is AI changing the way consumers are finding businesses as it relates to those changes?
Yeah, it's pretty significant. So, I mean, you know, obviously in doing research for, you know, the talk we did at AZ BizCon, I was finding stats. And one of the most shocking ones is that in 2005, 6% of people were using, 2025, 6% of people were using AI to find businesses. And then in 2026, it's already up to 46%. It's a 40% increase in a year. I've never seen that big of a shift in consumer behavior for online, like how they're using online in my life.
People have adopted AI very, very quickly, and it's only going to go up from here. So one thing we've really seen a shift with AI is, like you said, Steve, you see it in the AI overview. So less people are clicking on websites, because if I have the answer in the top of Google, why do I even need to go to your website?
Yeah, so about if an AI overview is shown on Google, it's like 50 to 70% of those searches end in 0 clicks, which means they never have clicked on a website. They got their information from the AI overview, and that was enough. So the challenge here is, you know, all of these education websites, if you're talking like travel education or, you know, people who are giving out education, those websites are really going to struggle because AI is taking that and not allowing people to, stopping people from visiting those websites now. But for home service companies, AI is still recommending those businesses, and they still obviously have to work with a business. So getting into that AI overview, having your business named in that AI overview is still a huge benefit, whether they click or not, because again, they're searching for a service. They're going to hire a company to do that service. And so by you showing up there, and so that's one place. A lot of people are using ChatGPT now as well. And asking, you know, I have this issue, who can help me solve this issue? Instead of just going and typing in best plumber this area, they're telling ChatGPT what the issue is. And so the companies that are answering that question in a way that AI likes to see it are the companies that are going to be showing up. Now, there's a variety of other factors that go into it. Third-party endorsements are really important as well. So capturing those reviews on Google Maps is still very important, because you know, AI is reading these reviews. They're seeing if people are talking about these specific issues in these reviews. So something like Google Maps is not going to go away, but you're going to find that a lot of people are just going to be starting on ChatGPT, then maybe Googling you and looking at your Google business card and seeing you on Google Maps to capture your reviews to make that final decision. Do I still want to work with this company, even, you know, because AI recommended it? And then moving forward. The cool thing with seeing with AI, though, is it almost comes through as a warm lead now. You know, it's like your buddy told you, oh, you should check out, you know, Joe's Plumbing over here. They did great work for me. AI is almost the same equivalent of a personal recommendation. It's
my AI's name is Alice, his is George. You know, like we have names.
So it is pretty interesting how much it turns something from a cold lead into a warm lead. And as every business owner knows, it's much easier to close warm leads than cold leads.
So do I even need a website now as a business owner if people aren't clicking on my Google ads?
It's a fascinating question, because websites are getting less and less clicks. There's no question about that. And it's only going to go down. And yet they've almost become more important than they used to be, because where's AI sourcing all of its information? A lot of it comes from your website. And so now you're really building websites for two reasons. One, as a credibility card, right? You know, again, when we talked about that $100,000 job that one of our contractors just closed, he talked to the person, and then that person went on to his website, and he saw something on the website that said, hey, I need to work with this guy. And because I've built a lot of trust on his website through case studies, through reviews, through explaining what type of licensing he has, all these type of things that help that conversion. So the website is there to help with conversion and to educate AI, but just know that website clicks are going down. And so people are utilizing websites differently. And we have to think about this as owners of recognizing, hey, the website's still important, and it's important that we're putting the right information here, even if less and less people are actually clicking and going to the website.
And the other thing is we have to build websites nowadays for 3 people, essentially. One is SEO. One is for your prospects, like the guy who got converted and was like, I'll spend $100,000, no problem. And then also AI. So there's another party factor. I mean, there's a lot to it in terms of strategy of what needs to be on a website these days.
Kind of a balancing act, writing content for all 3 parties.
So how do I, if I'm a current small business owner, how do I figure out how I'm showing up currently on AI?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is to ask AI to, like, you know, go in as a consumer, right? So, you know, again, for plumbing, I'd say, hey, I'm looking for a plumber who can do these things, who in this area can help me the best. And then it will, you know, come through, and these people will help the best. And one thing that you can see is you can actually see where it's sourcing that information from. And so that's really important, and seeing when it's saying thinking, and you can actually see where it's thinking.
It'll say like thought for 4 seconds. If you click on that button now, since AI recently updated, it'll open a whole sidebar that says like, this was sourced from this website on Reddit. This was sourced from this website for this construction company. Like it literally lists out every single citation and source where they got the data from.
So that's really helpful in understanding where is AI sourcing this information from, because you likely need to be there as well. The other thing is just Google your business and ask AI, you know, again, I approach it as like a consumer. So it's like, hey, I'm looking at working with this business. Do you think it would be good to hire this business for this thing? And see what AI says. You know, again, with the contractor we're talking about, when we first started, he had no online presence. And so AI was saying that he's a pretty high risk person to hire. While it looks like he has some successful things, there's not really enough record for me to say one way or other. Now, when I ask AI, I just asked yesterday, because, you know, we've been working for about 4 months and we've built up his credibility a lot more online. And it was like, yes, I think this person is a great person to hire, and here are the reasons. And then they were like, they did these projects, they have these reviews, they have this license.
Because we built all that.
Because we built all that. So again, you know, just knowing that people are asking AI, should I work with this business, especially for larger projects? You know, that is something to think about. And you want to ask AI to see, you know, is AI saying you should work? Because if it's saying negative things about your business, you should know about that and understand how to adjust.
And like Isaac said, it's really helpful to just put yourself in your customer's shoes. So, and if you don't know what that looks like, just think about what kind of jobs have you recently had, and then type that in, you know, like I've had this kind of job and this kind of job and this kind of job, but make sure to ask what city. So he was talking about like a plumber kind of thing, a leaky faucet, you know, in Scottsdale, who would you choose? Something like that.
So there's lots of marketing companies out there that want to help us as small business owners be successful, which I love. But what should small business owners be looking for if they want a little bit more than just standard fare marketing support?
Such a good question, because this industry is so tainted with awful people.
Especially SEO. I would say every single person that's hired us to do SEO has been burned by an SEO company in the past. And a lot of times, especially for local businesses, there's so many companies selling website SEO. But website SEO, ranking your website, is usually not worthwhile for small businesses that are trying to drive local customers. Google Maps and local SEO, showing up in Google Maps, showing up on Yelp, TripAdvisor, those platforms actually drive real customers. And so that's one of the big things that a lot of smaller businesses don't understand, is the difference between the two. And again, just so many people selling website SEO that, you know, that's what most people first experience. And so that's a big challenge. Really, you know, I think a key thing is looking at the ROI. So one thing that we actually do with our clients before we sign anyone on is we figure out how much what do you need to see in return for your spend? And we really break that down mathematically.
We make all of our prospects do math.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, put on your thinking hat. Like, we want to make sure we're managing expectations up front for both them with us and us with them. If they're like, oh, I need a 50 times ROI, then we're going to be honest and realistic and be like, here's what we can actually do for you.
Yeah.
In that case, if you're looking for 50 times, I don't know where you're going to find that.
Right.
But not us, we always like to run the numbers.
So many small business owners have literally never been asked that question. And we have to break down the math with them to figure out, okay, you're going to be spending this much money. You need this many customers to come and repeat the business this many times for us to break even, to make money, to make 5x. We aim to be making 5 to 10x marketing spend for our clients.
And we have exceeded 10 times for sure. But
yeah, I mean, for high ticket items, we oftentimes exceed 10x. But that's always our goal, is to be in that 5 to 10x range. Where someone like Yelp, for instance, advertises for every $1 spent, you get $3 in return. A 3x ROI is usually just breaking even for most businesses,
Yelp is also like, you shut it off, it stops serving you kind of thing too. But the whole point of like running, the ROI and the numbers with us is we're not a cookie cutter marketing company. It's not like, here's a standard package that every single person gets. We listen to their needs. We dig in and ask very detailed questions, even on the first phone call, just to understand. We're really interviewing them as well. Like, do we think they're a good fit to be working with us? We're boutique. We don't take on loads of clients. It's called the LocalFi family. That is our clients, not just our team, So UND Aerospace, like Isaac was talking about, they've been with us 5 years already. And they haven't had to do any other marketing in those 5 years and tripled enrollment. That's bonkers. It's wonderful. And they stay with us for that reason. Yeah. We created a customized proposal for them that nobody else has. Yeah. Every single client of the LocalFi family gets individualized, personal, we are human care. And we have a whole team, a graphic team, a human content writer. We know how to, flex and use AI, but having a personalized team, people really care about.
So I think really just kind of to go back to your question, it's like really look at the ROI and ask the company to break down where the ROI is coming from. And then really, being able to lean into the marketing that's being done. When we, obviously we paid to have a booth at AZ BizCon. And so we looked into how can we make sure that this ROI is happening. And, one of the things I did is made sure I had a buddy come and take photos of us, at the booth. He took video of us while we were doing the speaking engagement, because now I can use that as resources in the future. And so I'm not just getting a booth, I'm getting actually all of this media that I can use for the future that help me with my marketing. And so it's about, finding a marketing company that can understand how do you utilize what you're creating as long-term benefits. If you're going to hire a video company and you have a video and you don't put it in the right places, well, that's not good ROI, right? Yeah. So you have to make sure you're thinking ahead and thinking about how can I leverage what I'm doing, and can this marketing company help me leverage what's being done in order to create this long-term ROI?
Love it. Fascinating information. And then last question, if someone's interested in your marketing company, contacting you guys, or your travel brand, which we didn't have time to talk about, but you have a whole travel brand and podcast that I'd love for folks to, well, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that too, but how can they contact you? Tell us a little bit about the travel podcast.
This is Switzerland.
So we've been traveling. So in 2019, we actually packed up all of our things and started traveling full-time for 3 years with no address. Wow. And then we started missing our friends and family. So we ended up getting a condo back here in Tempe, and we winter here. And then during the summer, we're typically traveling 4 to 6 months during the year. We are very passionate about our national parks. We've been to 40 of the 63 national parks here in America so far, and another probably 8 international national parks in France and Italy and elsewhere. And so, people just kept asking us for like advice. And so we launched Full-Time to Travel Time is our travel brand.
And that's also the website if you want to check it out, fulltimetotraveltime.com, and the podcast as well.
Yeah. So we do podcast episodes. A lot of our podcasts are either focused on a national park where we guide people through everything they need to know about visiting that national park. We also do business education and like how do you create systems in your business to allow you to create the freedom to do your passion, whether that's travel, whether that's spend time with family, whether that's work on artwork. You know, a lot of businesses have great systems in one area and then are completely blind to systems in other areas, and that they're constantly having to put out fires. And when you have great systems, you don't have to put out fires because you've been proactive in preventing fires.
And that's really what's helped us accelerate so much in LocalFi, is having systems as well. You know, really having the time freedom to travel, enjoy life work balance, not just work. So on the LocalFi side of
well, so with full-time, the travel time, we do tourism marketing, you know, where we actually travel to those locations, experience either the lodging or the tour, and do SEO articles and that kind of stuff for that. And then we offer systems consulting as well for businesses, again, trying to, you know, create that freedom of time and everything like that. So that's really full-time to travel time. And then Kim was sharing LocalFi.
Yeah, LocalFi, if you'd like to reach us, you can go to LocalFi. It's LocalFi, SEO.com. And there's a big fat button. There's lots of buttons on that website that says work with us. So if you want to connect and have a discovery call, you can go there. Otherwise, Google us. Check out all the fantastic, almost 100 5-star reviews. We're very proud of that. So yeah, that's the main way you can contact us. There. Let's have a discovery call first.
I'm gonna Google you to see what the AI summary says about you guys.
Oh, please do. And then let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Number one, for being members of ASBA and participating in BizCon. It was great meeting you all there. Sounds like you had a lot of great connections, and thank you for what you do to support small businesses. It's just so critical. And this is such a new aspect of doing business that I'm constantly learning things about. I know our members want to learn more about this. So
the new age, that's why we called it that.
Well, and it's so funny, Steve, because when I first started doing this, one of my first clients here in Phoenix was a dentist, and he had been doing marketing through the phone book
Yellow Pages
for a decade, and it worked excellently for him. And then that had completely dried up, and he was like, how do I get leads in his business? Coach actually referred him to me. So now I've gone through 2 of these shifts where it went from phone book to Google Maps, and now we're going, Google Maps is still very relevant, but we're going from regular Google searches to AI search results. So this is the second major shift that I've gone through in just my career in doing this type of marketing.
There's nothing scarier than your marketing drying up on you. There was a moment where our Google ads completely got frozen and cut off by Google for like a month, and it destroyed business for that month. You know, so I feel that, dentist, because when you cut off that flow, it's a serious issue. So thank you all very much. Really enjoyed this. And, you know, folks, don't hesitate to reach out to them. They're amazing people. So thank you all.
Thank you.